At Wealth Without Wall Street, we believe that the formula to financial freedom is easy, but the work to accomplish it is difficult. We know how important it is to challenge the financial industry's conventional wisdom so that we don't fall victim to misinformation that hinders our process. Today, we're going to break down a financial article by Dave Ramsey, The Truth About Life Insurance. In this, you're going to see lots of misinformations and misstatements, and it's not going to be my opinion. We're going to look at the facts with the numbers. Hope you enjoy it. Today we're looking at The Truth About Life Insurance, article written on DaveRamsey.com back in 2010. Probably his most famous or most notarized article, as he went after cash value life insurance as one of the worst places you could put money. It's an article that's been sent to me many times over the last 7 years, and I want to address a few things. I'm not going to get into whether cash value life insurance is good or bad in this article. I'm going to only focus on, does Dave Ramsey know how to add, and can we trust him based upon the information he's given us in this article? You're going to want to watch this video. It's probably 15 minutes. You're going to want to put away Facebook, put away Instagram, or whatever you're looking at, and focus on this. If you're looking at Dave Ramsey and discerning whether or not he's somebody you should be listening to for financial information, this video is going to tell you probably all you need to know. The fact is that you can get on the radio and you can talk a lot, but when you don't have to sit down in front of somebody and answer for your opinions, it's easier than if you do. Here's what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. Dave says if a 30-year-old man has $100 per month to spend on life insurance and shops the top 5 cash value life insurance companies, he'll find he can purchase an average of $125,000 in insurance for his family. However, if this same guy purchased a 20-year level term insurance with a coverage of $125,000, the cost will only be $7 a month, not $100. You see what he's saying here? He's going, stupid. Why would you spend $100 a month for something you could have bought for $7? He's attacking our Walmart shopper need, right? The idea that we want to spend as little as we can for something and get as much as we can for that amount. Why would you do that? And not to mention, he goes on to say, ooh, those greedy insurance people have duped you into buying that, and extra $93 a month is going to disappear in commissions and expenses. You're going to have nothing. However, had you bought mutual funds, like I tell you to buy, growth stock mutual funds, those guys earn 12%. You're going to have a lot more money. Let's focus on the first thing that Dave's gotten wrong in here. He says, when you're 57 years old. Okay, Dave, 30 plus 20. I don't know about in Tennessee, but in Alabama, 30 plus 20 equals 50, not 57. How do you miss that? Where'd the extra 7 years go? I don't know. But that's a very simple thing that I would imagine you would get. So maybe that's just an oversight. But as many times as this article has been written or read, you would imagine somewhere in his editor, somebody would have gone back and said, ooh, we messed that up. Well, let's go ahead and change our numbers. Let's make this person 37, not 30. Let's make a 27-year term policy, even though that doesn't really exist. Or let's just figure out how much we'd have at 50, not 57. But he didn't. He stayed with the number. He said we're going to have $700,000. So if we would save this extra $93 a month, earning 12% in our mutual funds, we're going to have $700,000. Okay, well, let's figure out if Uncle Dave is right with his math, because this is a pretty important number if he's telling us we're going to be able to retire and be self-insured. We don't need any insurance after that point. Let's see if he's given us accurate information. So I'm going to bring over a calculator from Truth Concepts. I encourage you to go to truthconcepts.com. Kim Butler and Todd Langford are great at helping us discern investments and the real truth behind those numbers. They're actually the ones who showed me this information I'm sharing with you today. Well, if you add up 30 to 57, add every single year, 30 being the first year, actually would come up to 28 years, not 27. And this calculator I'm looking at, I want to know what the value is going to be at the end of that 28th year, at end of age 57. So because my calculator only gives me the beginning of the year, I actually need to use 29 years. So let's look at this. I'm saving $93 a month each and every year for 20 years. And then I'm going to have $700,000. So will that earn 12%, or is there some other number? Well, it's not 12%, is it? It's 17.82. 17.82 is a lot different than 12, Dave. How did we get that number off? Did you misadd, or is it just to make it look better? We needed to have 700,000, so we chose that number instead of a lower number? I don't know. What else has he gotten wrong? Okay, let me bring over another calculator from Truth Concepts so we can evaluate more specifically these numbers. So let's look at that. Over a 28-year period of time, and we're going to be earning 17.82% each and every year. Let's go in here and make our time frame equal our ages, so you can see 28 years, 57, so you know my math was right. And we want to put in our $1,116 we're going to be saving every year. We're going to do that for the first 20 years. So after that, we're not going to be saving anymore. So you can see how we actually have $700,000. So still we're calculating, not 12%, but Dave, it has to be 17.82 for what you said in your article to be actually accurate. But you forgot some things, Dave. You forgot taxes. You forgot management fees. Those are some pretty important things that we need to calculate for because those are real. Well, let's figure out what are going to be our taxes. Well, in order to do that, we needed to discern how much money is going to be, how much of the stocks in the mutual funds will be held to the very end, which is very little. I'm going to say 10%. And then I'm going to say the other half are being sold but under 1 year, and the rest are being sold after 1 year. The reason that makes a difference is because some of the money is going to be subject to capital gains rates, which I'm going to use 15%, and the rest is going to be subject to ordinary income. Well, let's assume this person's earning $150,000 a year and has got $30,000 in deduction, so at the net would have $120,000 of income that would be subject to the federal tax table here in 2017. So let's go in there and put that in and see what that does to our math. So instead of having $700,000, we have $290,000. That's a pretty big blow, isn't it? That's almost a $500,000 difference. That's $410,000. $410,000 less than what our $700,000 we thought we were going to have. How could you forget that, Dave? How could you forget about taxes? You know they exist. I know you pay them. I hope you do. What about the fees? What about the fees that we're having to pay the mutual fund managers and the money babysitters that we give our money to before they give it to the mutual fund companies? We know that those exist, right? There's lots of articles that can go into detail and tell us how much it's costing us for these mutual funds. I found an article in the Wall Street Journal. It talks about the hidden cost of mutual funds. I know this to be true. I had a securities license for many years, starting in 2004. I gave it up in 2015 because I just couldn't buy into building wealth on Wall Street. It's just a crock. But it says, the average person believes the stock fund, U.S. stock funds pays an average of 1.31 of assets, meaning it's costing us 1.31, but that's not really the bottom line. It says there's lots of other costs that are not reported in the expense ratio. We've got to buy and sell these securities. If you own a Charles Schwab account or TD Ameritrade or any other online portal, you know that whenever you buy and sell a stock, it costs you $20, $30. Well, imagine if you have a couple hundred stocks in your portfolio and you're turning those over several times every single year. There's lots of costs in that. It goes on to say that those expenses can make a fund 2 or 3 times as costly as advertised. So instead of being 1.31%, it could be 2.62 or 3.93. That adds up, doesn't it, Dave? Now, I know he was all over how much money these insurance guys were making, but he never seems to talk about what does the mutual fund guys make. Well, let's put that stuff in there. Let's look at what the cost would be. I'm going to only say 2% instead of 3 or 4%. I'm going to say 2%. I'm going to try to be conservative in my estimate here and to trying to determine, well, what does that do to our account? Instead of having $290,000, we only have $205,000. So that is almost $500,000 now. $500,000 off of the $700,000. If I was thinking I needed $700,000 and
I look up and realize I only got 205, I'm either severely uncapitalized for my retirement, or I am broke and have to go back to work and hope I can. But wait a second. That's not it, though. He's assuming that over this time frame, we're earning 17.82%. At least that's what its original math was. He said 12, but we know that wouldn't even be close, right? If I went in there and I put 12%, this thing becomes 89,000. So if I was really using his math, it would be way off. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's actually just use the stock market. Let's figure out what the stock market has done for the last 28 years. Maybe it's higher. Maybe it is 17.82%. So let's go in here. Let's put that in there. So 2017 minus the last 28 years. That gives us, it only gives us a return of 11.55. But that's not too far off from his 12. So at least we can see he rounded up. He's just rounding. That's pretty good. I mean, but he's assuming, that would assume we use the S&P 500 with dividends, which, by the way, that's not reality. The same 500 companies aren't in there every single year. A new company comes in, one company rolls off, right? So in order for us to have this, would assume we kept buying we kept buying the new 500 companies every year. I don't know anybody that does that. Maybe you do, but I don't. So let's go in here. Let's copy this information. And let's go put it in the calculator to see what his math is, though. So let's put in right here, paste the real values in here and figure out that, wow, not 700,000, not 300,000, not 200,000, not 89,000, but only $45,000 is what would really be in our account if we use Dave's numbers. That's frustrating. I hope you know that I'm a little bit angry. You probably can hear it in my voice, but I want you to be angry. You to be angry that you would listen to a financial entertainer who would tell you that you need to be saving $93 a month, buy term insurance, that whenever you die, the statistic says 98% of you will not have that term policy in force because it will have long lapsed. And you're going to have not $700,000 in an account, but $45,000 based upon what he told you to do with the $93, looking at these numbers. But he got all over the commissions, right? That was his whole thing. Insurance is terrible. All the money's going to commissions. Look at this. Over this 20-year period of time, the commissions, the fees paid to mutual fund advisors and to mutual fund companies were $13,656. You invested $22,000 and over half of it was paid in fees. That's a lot of money. Nobody's talking about that, are they? I don't know about you, but I can tell you that a whole life policy is not going to pay out $13,656 in commissions. But that's what he was focusing on in this article. Dave, I am very disappointed in this article. I'm very disappointed that your numbers could be so far off and so misleading that someone out there could be listening to this garbage and unfortunately end up in a situation where they don't have enough money and they've retired. Or I guess if they didn't have enough money, they wouldn't retire. But they would have thought that they could have. Are you disappointed? What else do you think is wrong with this article? We'll come back to it another day.
If you like these sort of things and you want to get more information like it, subscribe to our podcast, Wealth Without Wall Street, where we teach you how to build wealth without the risk of Wall Street while verifying the facts behind it and pushing back the ignorance in the financial industry.
Welcome to the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast, your guide to understanding how to get out of the Wall Street rat race and start your own mailbox money lifestyle.